Hey, so this video is about mistakes that I made with specifically my family while going no contact with them. So the first mistake was wanting validation and closure from them, like wanting them to say, yes, I am a narcissist. Yes, I abused you. Yes, this is what happened. And obviously narcissists don't want to give you that because that would be giving up their control over you. And it's also possible that they believe the lies that they're telling you, so they're not going to validate you because they actually believe the lie. So either way, they're not going to give you that closure and that validation. The second thing was thinking that I needed their permission to leave. And I don't know where that comes from exactly, if that's related to the closure thing or just the fact that they're so controlling and you're just like used to needing permission for everything that you did in your life. But I was wanting them to say, yes, go be free, go be happy, go leave us. And like, obviously that's never going to happen either. So yeah, I was just sitting around waiting for permission for them to say, yes, we abuse you. Yes, you have every right to leave us and end contact. But you'll be waiting forever if you're waiting for that. And the third thing was trying to fix it or like explain myself to them, because one of the tactics a narcissist will use is they'll say, make me understand, tell me what the problem is. And then you do, and then they either invalidate it and tell you that you're wrong, or they just continue to say, make me understand. And it's like, well, I already told you. So you don't even owe them one explanation, but if you want to, you tell them one time. And if they say, make me understand, it's clear they're just playing a game. It's just a tactic. It's a way to keep you roped in. And I kept thinking that it was unfair to leave while they didn't understand. But I think there's kind of two possibilities. One possibility is that they do understand. They know they've abused you and they are lying and they know that. In which case you don't owe them an explanation because they already know. And the other possibility is that they truly don't know because they're so mentally ill and so far gone into their disorder that they just have like no grasp of reality. In which case it's kind of pointless for you to try to tell them because, you know, they're just not going to understand. So either way, it's not your job to explain to them how they abused you and how you want the abuse to stop. They either already know or they're not capable of knowing. And the fourth thing is I was thinking that it was mean to just go no contact. And that kind of relates to the whole explaining thing and the closure thing. It's like I wanted to somehow like have them be okay with it, but that's never gonna happen. So you're just gonna have to accept that it may seem mean to you, but things that are mean for normal people aren't mean for narcissists, because the only thing that they understand is no contact. So this really is your only option. And the fifth thing was my own nostalgia of saying, oh, you know, but they're my family. I need to be in contact with my family. And a big turning point for me was saying, family is love, where you're supported and understood. And these people have never given me that. Therefore, they're not really family. They're just strangers that I have memories with and photographs, you know, of me standing beside. Like, that's it. They're strangers that you have a history with. They're not really family. And the sixth thing I did was second guessing myself like 1,000 times, because trying to talk to a narcissist about how they abused you is just going to increase the gaslighting exponentially. And my mother said she was sorry, and I kind of believed her. It was like a word salad situation, but I wanted so desperately to believe her that I did initially. And then my father just straight up said that it never happened. So even that is like a contradictory response from both of them. Like she's saying sorry and he's saying, no, your mother's a wonderful, perfect mother. What right do you have to claim that she abused you, kind of thing. And then both of them, after that initial response, just acted like it was no big deal. Like what I was saying, I was just gonna like get over it in a month, and they just like pushed the reset button, like everything's fine. Like, oh, you're still talking about that abuse thing? I thought that was like, I thought you were done with that. Are you still like on about that? And this is just, it's so evil. It's so evil. You come out saying they abused you, and then they just like completely dismiss it. And yeah, I was just extraordinarily confused by this, because I still was not fully grasping that they were narcissists. So I was just second guessing myself. Every single flying monkey that came my way, I second guessed myself. It was just horrible. And then that kind of relates to the last thing, which was that I kept making it my fault. Like I made it my fault that our relationships were so awful. I made it my fault that they didn't seem to understand. And I used to say, you know, maybe I'm just not being clear about my boundaries. Maybe I'm just not expressing myself accurately. But the thing is the boundary was very clear. Like I said, I'm not going to see you in person and I'm not going to phone you. And then they were saying, oh, we're going to come like see you for Christmas. And it's like, my boundary was extremely explicit and I had it in writing. So that was not my fault. That was them just ignoring the boundary. And then I had other boundaries later on about like how often we were going to talk, and they just ignored those boundaries too. And I kept saying like, what's wrong with the way that I'm communicating? Like am I not being clear? And like when they kept saying, make me understand, I was just like, why don't they understand? I said, you abused me. Like, like, it's not my fault. Like looking back, it's like, that's very easy to understand. I'm accusing them of abusing me, and they're saying, we don't understand. It's like, it's either a game to them, or they're so mentally ill that they just really don't get it. Either way, it's not your fault. They are choosing not to understand. And I thought I would finish with something that I did right in this situation, which was telling myself that it is a big deal. Like I had a list of all of the reasons I wanted to leave, or yeah, basically all the reasons that I felt that they abused me. So it was a way to validate yourself. And I kept telling myself like, it is a big deal. Even if they're telling me it's not, it is a big deal. And I did maintain some boundaries with like no calls and no visits. And yeah, I fell for a lot of the hoovers and the gaslighting and whatever. But I did maintain not seeing them and not calling them. And then eventually I did catch on. Like I just had to keep like watching videos about narcissistic abuse, and eventually I just got fed up. I think there was just some sort of threshold where I was like, okay, I'm done. But part of it was also grieving the idea of family, as I said before, like realizing that they're not actually my family, and they're just people that I have a history with who cared for me physically but did not care for me mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. So I was already an orphan on all those levels. Like I had to raise myself on all those levels, except for the fact that they fed me and clothed me. Like they only cared for my physical needs, and I had no family in regards to all the other aspects of being human. So that was a really key component for me. But then I think also there was just some sort of threshold of like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm done type of thing. And I guess that can be different for every person. But if you maintain the low contact, it's going to be excruciating. And that's the thing that's going to tip you over the edge. Like as long as you don't go back to like the regular way of interacting with them, where you just do whatever they want, as long as you maintain low contact and boundaries and insisting that they did abuse you, it's going to be awful. And that's actually going to be the blessing, because that's what's going to make you say, okay, either I'm staying in this really awful low contact, or I'm going back to the regular relationship, which you can't do anymore. Once you're semi-aware that they're narcissists, you're like, hey, I can't do that. So then the only other option is no contact. So you can either go no contact right away, but if you are struggling with doing that, then low contact can like push you over the edge to then say, okay, this is ridiculous. I can see that they're narcissists. I can see they don't care at all about actually resolving this situation. So you can get some clarity for yourself that way. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.